Josh Darrow, Larry Bluestein.
Right there.
Bum, bum, bum.
Don't have to say anything more.
AutoNation Gridiron Report here on SouthFloridaHighSchoolSports.com. Time to look at 3 prospects, and we are going to start with the guy who really changed the game for Miramar and St. Thomas. If we go back now almost 2 weeks, Eric Pittman. Sometimes you look at some of those wide receivers, you look at Alex Anderson, who's bigger, some of the playmakers on defense in the secondary, but this guy can make plays. He's very quick and explosive, and he certainly made plays in the big win over St. Thomas. Kid we've also seen before. Time for him to get his due. What do you know? What can you tell us about Mr. Pittman?
Well, first of all, we saw him in that little pecking order at Miami Central, and he was saying, that guy Dalvin Cook and Yearby, maybe I'll go somewhere else and make a name for myself. And he did last year, had a real good year. Everybody probably remembers him most for the kickoff, the return against Cypress Bay. That could have hurt them. It hurt him for that game, but this is a guy that really has sucked it up quite a bit because he does kickoff returns, he does punt returns. He's a line from scrimmage runner who can block and get out in the open for receptions. Now, the other night against, or a couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago, against Miramar, what he kept doing is he played so many plays on a muggy night that you tend to cramp up a little bit, but I'll tell you, he does make a difference. He runs extremely hard, and that's the thing. When you run that hard in all that heat and humidity, it takes its toll. And I'm telling you, I can't say enough about him because he's turned out to be a great teammate. Coach Cogdell and everybody talks about him, his contributions and his hard work, and that's the one thing. He could have given this thing up and played, third fiddle to Yearby and Cook, but he wanted to carve out his own niche. And when he got here, he was faced with having Cameron Rigby, and he was faced with having Anderson and a couple of others. I think
Alex Lee was there.
Yeah, Alex Lee.
It's not like there have been any shortage of running backs in Miramar-wise.
Right, exactly. So they've had a few over there, Josh. So I think the thing that people have to understand, he's come through a lot. He's worked extremely hard, and I know that Coach Cogdell is very proud.
All right, now we're going to talk about 2 other guys, one on offense, one on defense, that you get very excited about. You've talked very highly about privately, to me at least, on the sidelines at their games, and then we're going to let you talk about them publicly. We're going to go to Booker T. Washington. We're probably going to mention a name that you're not going to think we're going to mention, because when you think Booker T, you think Chad Thomas, Nigel Bethel, Treon Harris, Deltron Hopkins, and Crondis Larry. And those guys are good, obviously.
Yeah, very good.
But you want to mention somebody else that every time we watch Booker T, you always point him out, and that's the next in line, and that would be junior defensive back Ladarius Crum.
Ooh. You know what? I'll tell you what. He made all counting last year as a sophomore because of the little things, and that's one of the things that when everybody watches you, when the coaching staff watches you, and they talk about some of the things that you do, Josh, and they go, you got to check out number 20. This kid's doing everything. Then you start watching him, and he's coming off on corner blitzes. He's making plays on running plays. He's following plays 20 yards up, and he's a pretty good pass defender. I think he's that next guy. He's that next Bethel. He's that next Dietrich Nichols. He's that next Quincy Wilson type of guy that is a difference maker. I mean, he's a physical guy.
High praise.
He will. Well, let me tell you something. He will put his head in there, and you watch. Anytime that there's success, and I've said it this year, in the last 3 games, anytime that Booker T has had success, the 3 numbers that are always around that ball are 45,
Jefferson,
number 8, Mr. King,
yep,
who I told you about early.
Yes, you did. That was way back.
He's starting to emerging, and this young man, Crump, because they're always around the ball. I mean, there's other kids that are in there, but they're all around the ball, and this is what a difference maker. I can't wait to see him. He's still got 2 years to go.
All right, the last one would be DeAndre Pickett-White at Southwest as the Eagles have made their rise, and I think the thing that we want Larry to talk about is, he's always been sort of classified as an athlete, and he was a receiver at one point at Southwest. But now after you watched him firsthand against Berlin, you actually can also see him as a quarterback.
Oh, well, let me tell you something. If you want to go into a game and consider him just a guy who could beat you a little bit with his arm and his legs, you're going to get killed. This kid has one of the strongest and most accurate throwing arms. He's 6'2". He's got everything going for him. I was called out on this because I thought he was more of an athlete. I could see him as a wide receiver, as a safety. But when I watch him as a quarterback, and this is something that he's played all the way back to the Palmetto Raider days, this is a big-time athlete. I mean, you could say athlete because he's athletic, but he throws the ball. He's not as fast as I thought he was going to blaze because he doesn't need to be. He's got foot speed. But I'll tell you what, he gets out of the pocket. He's extremely strong, and his arm strength is crazy, and he's accurate all the time. This is a kid that I've been raving about to a lot of coaches. They are fully on him. You know what? Where I put our guy Maurice Alexander right up there for the class of 2015 as quarterback. I've got to put DeAndre right with him because I think as far as football talent, pure football talent, those two kids are just big time. South End kids, and I know everybody down south is happy about that.
So three big. We came large this week. Eric Pittman, Ladarius Crump, and DeAndre Pickett-White. For Larry Bluestein, always big. We're trying to make it. And this is the biggest.
That's it right there.
AutoNation Gridiron Report here on SouthFloridaHighSchoolSports.com.